The X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. If you would like to send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, Xzone Radio TV. And for all the fine programming we have available for you on the X Zone Broadcast Network 24/7, 365. Visit www.xzbn.net. And for all of our TV viewing audience, to find out what we have scheduled on the X Zone TV channel that is exclusively on Simul TV, visit www.simultv.com. My guest this hour, X Zone Nation, is Les Velez. He graduated from the University of Vermont with a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration. Beginning in September of 1970, Les served in the U.S. Army as a field artillery officer and is presently VP of Liscombe Engineering, a Silicon Valley-based manufacturer's representative company. Les joined MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, in 1991 and has held the following positions: Field Investigator, Training Coordinator for Field Investigators, the Assistant State Director in Northern California, Chairman of the AERC, and that's the Abduction Experiencer Research Committee, and Team Leader of the ART, Abduction Response Team. That's for an abduction support group in San Jose, California, and in 1994 co-founded the OPUS, the Organization for Paranormal Understanding and Support. The website is www.opusnetwork.org. Les Velez, welcome to the X Zone.
Well, thank you very much, Rob. It's a pleasure to be here.
Tell us about your experience with MUFON, and here's a question that I have to ask you before that is, have you yourself ever seen a UFO?
Well, that's a good question, and I have. I was living in Connecticut at the time, and I was 11 years old, and I was coming back in the house. It was at dusk, and just feeding my dog, and I noticed over a tree line this white oval object just silently moving along, and it scared the hell out of me. And yes. I ran into the house and tried to get my father to come out, and by the time I convinced him to come on out, it was gone, of course. And he said, well, it's probably a beacon of light reflecting off a cloud from somewhere. And at the time we were living about 45 minutes outside of New York City. So it could be a possibility that that's what it was, but I wasn't convinced at the time because this thing looked pretty solid to me. And so the next day I went to the library and I started reading books about UFOs. And of course, at that time, George Adamski was the big writer of stories about UFOs, etc. So anyway, I really started to get involved with that whole thing. But as time passed, adolescence came along, and I guess girls became a little bit more important in my life.
You notice how that happens, eh?
Hello.
Yeah, no, I said you notice how that happens.
Yes, exactly. And anyway, graduated from high school and then went to college at the University of Vermont, and got married and had a couple of kids and moved out to California in 1985. And I picked up the newspaper one day, and the San Jose Mercury News, and there was an article about Stanton Freeman coming to San Jose City College to talk about UFOs and a government cover-up. Well, that period of time between when I saw that first UFO and getting married and moving out to California, it had, this whole interest in UFOs had totally disappeared. But when I saw that article, I said, well, I got to go see Stanton and listen to what he has to say. Well, I expected to see a handful of people at the college, but the auditorium was packed. And of course, Stanton Freeman, he's a hell of a presenter, and as you well know, and it just blew me away. And so I came out of there and I says, well, that's it. I've got to get more involved. Well, MUFON had a table out in the foyer, and so they were signing people up to get their journal. So I decided, okay, well, I've got to get the journal. I got to read more about the whole phenomena, and I did. And but that was not enough for me. And finally, I said, well, I've got to do more. How do I do more? And MUFON was able to fill that void by becoming a field investigator for them. And all the cases that I got involved with eventually turned out to be abduction type scenarios where people felt that not only did they see a UFO, they had been abducted. And that just absolutely blew my mind, because I had never at that point been involved with anything like that. And these people would ask me, do I know of other people that are having similar experiences? And I said, yes, I do. And that basically was the start of me providing a place for these people to come together. And so I formed this support group in San Jose. And oh my goodness, I learned so much by listening to these people, more than anything that I could have read to that point. And it was just absolutely unbelievable.
Why do you think people are being abducted by ETs?
Well, that's a good question. There's many thoughts along those lines. Some feel that these people are being abducted because it's basically they're following a genetic path that that has been created. Many of these people, when you talk to them, you find out that not only they have had experiences, but other relatives have had experiences. And so it's almost like, there's a genetic process that's going on, experimentation that's going on, that they're following people over the generations. And it's, I kind of equate it to something that we do as humans when we follow certain species of animals.
Right.
We will go out to the ocean, per se, and pull a dolphin out of the water, and then we will tag it, and we will take blood samples, and then we'll throw them back in the water. Can you imagine? Joe Dolphin comes back to the herd and says, "You're never going to believe what just happened to me." and the rest of the clan, the school says, "Oh yeah, you're crazy," But the bottom line is that this is the kind of thing that's going on. Are we at the top of the food chain? Probably not, which is a kind of a scary thing in and of itself.
Do you believe that the governments of the world are actually covering up the information that the ETs are here?
Oh, I definitely believe so.
Why?
There's been so much evidence that we have gained over the years from people that have had direct contact, highly placed people, with authority at the time, that like Colonel Philip Corso.
Yeah, okay.
A matter of fact, in the 50th anniversary of Roswell, I was there
Hmm.
and was able to talk to him before he passed away. And I said, here you are, a well-respected person, and now you're coming out with this kind of a story. I mean, aren't you afraid that people are going to think you're a nutcase? Which obviously there's a lot of people out there that feel that way.
That's
But
right.
he says, no. He says, we have to tell the story so that our grandchildren understand that we are not alone. I mean, that just absolutely blew me away.
All right, stand by. We've got to take our first break. Exonation Les Velez is our special guest. His website is www.opusnetwork.org. And Les and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break talking about UFOs, ETs, MUFON, and much more. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone, and we're coming to you around the world from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone broadcast network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV. Plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
We live in rapidly shifting times of extreme volatility and uncertainty. Such profound change brings a unique opportunity for the evolution of consciousness. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, host of Mission Evolution Radio Show, a program that explores the latest scientific developments and deepening spiritual truths supporting human evolution. Join me on xzbn.net, where I interview leading experts in science, physics, medicine, spirituality, and more. By applying divergent viewpoints to leading-edge topics, we uncover expansive and evolutionary truth to assist you on your path to enlightenment. More information and past episodes are available at missionevolution.org.
And welcome back, everyone. Les Velez is our special guest, www.opusnetwork.org. If the UFOs are out there, and I'm just sitting on the fence here for all our listeners, why don't they just land and say, we're here?
Well, that's interesting. I think it's like the Prime Directive. Star Trek fans are probably familiar with that, where they're not to interfere with what's going on because, of course, there's theories about the fact that they have created us, eons ago, and so they're continuing to watch what's going on. And if they came down and made themselves present, if you will, that this would disturb the whole experiment.
Experiment?
Yes, experiment, because supposedly, genetically, we have been altered by them. This is a theory. I have no proof of that whatsoever. However, you go back and you see how man has progressed over the eons, and there's been giant jumps in what man has been able to do, and you have to wonder, well, was this a natural progression, or has this been helped in some way, shape, or form?
And of course, if it's been helped or shaped in some form, it has to be the ETs. It couldn't possibly be a pre-existing race that had all this accumulated knowledge. Why do we put so much faith and trust in ETs? I don't understand that. I don't understand what the
I don't necessarily buy into that. All I'm saying is that there are so many theories with regard to the Dogon tribe, for instance. How did they know that this star system that was out there, they didn't have telescopes, they didn't have anything, and all of a sudden their whole culture is based on this. And so you have to wonder, how did this knowledge get transferred?
We can say the same thing about the Egyptians. We can say the same thing about the Mayans and other civilizations around the world. The Dogons are just one example.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
like what else? What else did they have to do at night?
Ahead.
What else did they have to do? They didn't have TV. They didn't have the internet. They didn't have Netflix. So they looked at the sky. They needed the sky for the seasons as well as navigation and so on. So why?
Sure. No, absolutely. Yeah. But in the particular case of the Dogons, they couldn't see it. It was not. You couldn't just lay back on your cot or on the ground and look up at the stars and observe what they came up with. So,
or
anyway,
what was
the
claimed.
The bottom line on all of this is what is going on now with people that feel that they're being abducted, and what can we do to help these people?
Well, how much of these
is all about?
How much of these abductions is psychosomatic? Like, how many of these people need mental help?
Oh, there are some that definitely need mental help, and we, Opus is an organization that has mental health practitioners,
Excellent.
medical doctors, various types of consultants, including hypnotherapists, and so we try to do triage with these people that contact us, and matter of fact, recently we've been contacted by somebody that definitely needs some psychiatric help as opposed to a support group type of a scenario.
How many members, how many calls would you get in the period of a month?
Oh, well, we get 2 to 3 a week.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's amazing. There was a Roper poll done in 1991 that basically came up with the numbers that 8 million people in the United States, just the United States, have been abducted.
But there hasn't been a poll since then. And not
that I'm aware of.
Yeah,
anyway.
And what year was that again? 1991?
1991, right.
That was the peak of the UFO television shows, the UFO movies. So, of course, those ratings would be high.
Oh, I'm not so sure about that.
You're not
so sure about that. However, the bottom line on this thing is that we are getting contacted by people that are, telling us that they've been having experiences throughout their lives.
Right.
They don't know where to turn, and that they looking for someone to tell them they're not crazy, because they feel that they are crazy. But then a lot of them, and most of them, and if they haven't already done so, I suggest that they do go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist and get checked out first. Then, once they do that process, then they can come back to us and say, hey, look, I need to talk to somebody because my family doesn't want to talk to me about it. I don't know where to turn. My doctor has no idea what this is all about. And that's one of the things that we try to do, is we try to find people that are familiar with the phenomena. And this is an amazing phenomena. Dr. John Mack, God rest his soul, did some incredible work with the people that felt that they were abducted. He was the Harvard psychiatrist that almost got canned because of his involvement with this field. And so we have tried to give people a safe place to be. And one of the things that we do is we have an online support group that's totally confidential. People contact us, we talk to them, we bring them into the group. They can talk to people that have had similar circumstances in their lives and discuss things, whether, it's asking questions or telling their stories, just being able to talk to other people that have had the same type of a scenario in their lives. Because when you feel so isolated, this is the thing that drives people crazy, literally drives people crazy, is the fact that they don't know where to turn. And they have no place to get the kind of help that they need. So what we do, besides the support group, if there is a local support group, of course, we push up in that direction. And then, we do have hypnotherapists and medical doctors that hopefully, these people are willing to, because some people come to us and say, well, I've got an implant. What do I do with that? And so, well, we say, we can direct you to a doctor that can, analyze what's going on, take some x-rays and do things of that nature. And, Rob, what it is is this extraterrestrial in nature? Is it interdimensional in nature? Is it time travelers? Is it military? Or is it all the above?
Well, listen, how come we haven't heard of any abduction cases since Travis Walton? The media carried that, and, the Betty and Barney Hill case, and the odd abduction experiences. I don't know when the media has covered an alien abduction since then.
Oh, there's been many. There's been many. I mean, I'm in my office right now, surrounded by books, lots of books.
No. I'm talking about accredited media. I'm not talking about the number.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Now, you just said something that's kind of wild. Accredited media.
Yes.
The media, looks at this thing, with a laugh curtain.
I can understand
why. They don't want to touch this field. They have no concept whatsoever. The most recent thing that came out was the one that was written up in the New York Times with the two Navy pilots that tracked this object. They had gun camera footage of this object that was doing the most incredible things. And then you got organizations now, to the Stars Academy, that's come out with all these top people in the military intelligence area, the CIA, the DIA. I mean, it's going on. It's happening. And so, I understand where you're coming from, Rob. This is something that you need to get me all fired up about.
No. Listen. That's not why I'm asking these stories. That's not it at all. And if you think that's the reason why I'm asking these questions, then there's no need for us to continue this interview.
Oh, no.
The reason I'm
of course
asking
not.
is
But,
because
no,
no,
I
wait a
mean,
minute
the
here. Wait a
bottom
minute here.
line is that
Wait a sec.
there's
Wait a sec.
something
Wait a
happening.
second. Wait a second.
And-
Wait a second. Wait a second.
Okay.
The bottom line is that as an interviewer, I ask questions based on what I believe my listeners want to hear
Sure.
and ask, as well as being a member of the accredited media. I take offense to people who think that we just spoof it off because it's all part of a grand scheme of conspiracy and cover-up, which is a bunch of bunk.
Well, I think Rob, that maybe you're one of the few that don't, but most of the media does. It's all tongue in cheek. Whenever you see something on TV or what have you, it's all a laugh. It's a laugh.
Well, that's
And it's
because the
unfortunate.
information that is given to the media by these people who claim to have been abducted, there's no evidence. There's no proof. It's all hearsay. That's why that is why the media has lost faith when it comes to UFOs and extraterrestrials, as well as the alien abductions. We'll be back after this break. Don't go away.
From our broadcast studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, to the world and beyond, you're watching the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
AVS Media Den.
You have heard of the X-Zone? Now watch it on SimulTV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is SimulTV. SimulTV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. SimulTV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have SimulTV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone broadcast network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com.
thefutureofgodamen.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Les Velez is our guest this hour. His website is opusnetwork.org. Les, when it comes to the UFO stories, you must admit that the internet has turned whatever credibility ufology had at the beginning of its inception has gone down the drain. When you have a former director of MUFON putting out a press release stating that Malaysia Airline Flight 370 will never be found because it was abducted by a UFO. Come on.
Well, I guess I'm not familiar with that. What director of MUFON said that?
Well, the same director who opened his mouth and was nailed because of racial remarks.
Oh, okay. That's the director out of Pennsylvania.
That's right.
Okay.
So
I'm not familiar with him, but the bottom line is I have no idea what that's all about. The bottom line, you before the break here, we talked about proof and things of that nature. So I want to address that.
Sure.
The people that come to us and we have implants that have been analyzed by Dr. Lear. Okay.
Yeah, podiatrist.
And there's been some really peculiar things that have gone on with it. I mean, these things are sending out radio signals. Okay. Now that doesn't mean that these are extraterrestrial. It could be a military involvement. That's what I said before, is that, there's many possibilities, which I think there could be all the above, because, you talk about time travelers. The Rendlesham Forest case was one where they felt that these are entities that were coming back 40,000 years from the future.
That's not what Lieutenant Colonel Holt has ever said about the Rendlesham case.
Right. So, I mean, you got implants, you got scoop marks, you got marks on the people's bodies that have come back after the supposed abductions. And so, Rob, there's something happening. I am not here to say that definitively it's this or that, but we need to understand what it is better. And the majority of the people that have come forward and talked about these things seem to have the same story. And these stories involve alien that are certainly nothing that we presently have here on this plane anyway. So that's what this is all about.
Okay, when was the first reported case of alien abduction?
When was the first?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. Gosh.
Was it Betty and Barney Hill and going back into the 60s?
Well, I think that's probably the most famous one. That's for sure. I agree with that. Before that, there's all kinds of things going back to the 1800s where people have, been involved with entities, if you will. And nobody really talked about that I'm aware of anyway, and the possibility exists that there was an abduction involved at the same time. But one of the things, Rob, that we have done, and this was something that was involved with MUFON back in 2008. We did a study that they actually financed. Two psychologists and myself took 72 people that felt that they had been abducted and took a control group of about 51 people, and we subjected them to a questionnaire, various questionnaires that are well respected in the field of psychology. And so we basically put this report out. It's a 28-page report called the Omega-3 Study. And you can go on my website under the library section and look up the Omega-3 Study. But this was something that was remarkable to me. And I can give you some excerpts from it.
Sure.
That might be interesting.
Sure, please.
Okay, in general, abductees' experiences profile differently than do their comparison counterparts on a number of general psychological and specific neurological variables. Yet there are remarkable similarities between the experiential group and the comparison group. It should be noted that in no case did experiencers or comparison group participants show any signs of mental illness or personality disorder. So that's an important finding right in and of itself. We're not dealing with crazy people. Okay. One of the things, people talk about is fantasy proneness. And fantasy proneness does not appear to play a differentiating role between the experiential and the control groups. However, sensitivity to alternative realities and early and recurrent paranormal or psi experiences seem to play a role in the abduction experience. So right away we looked at things, people have talked about, well, there's been some, kind of trauma early on in childhood, and we did find that. Childhood conflict, psychosocial tension and abuse and trauma more likely facilitate a dissociative coping style in later life. How much a part of dissociation plays in the abduction experience remains an open question. But the Ring and Rosing, this is a group that did a study back in 1990, trauma-based dissociation pathways remains a viable descriptive, if not explanatory principle. So dissociation is something that could be a psychopathology, but in this case it was not. It didn't get to the degree that would cause a psychopathology. So both experience with and interest in the abduction phenomenon have impact on how one's body is perceived to function, how one views the world and one's purpose in it, and how one defines and redefines one's faith, tradition, and beliefs. In essence, both experience with, interest, and contact seem to change one's sense of self and one's worldview. So, and that's one of the things that's so common with the abductees is that they come away with this thing and say, we need to be better people.
Mm-hmm.
We need to take care of the planet. We can't pollute the way we're doing. We got to take care of the oceans, the air that we breathe. And it's such a common focus that it's all good. It's a very good thing in that regard.
Let me ask you two questions based on the
sure.
The information you just shared with us.
Yeah, sure.
These other two people with you, were they board certified psychiatrists?
No, psychologists.
Oh, psychologists. So they weren't
Yes.
they weren't psychiatrists. Okay.
No, they were not.
Why wouldn't you use a psychiatrist who is medically trained as well as psychologically trained?
Well, the psychologists involved with this are both, and one unfortunately has passed away since this study was done. And I could send you his biography. Well versed in the vehicles that we utilized in questioning the abductees.
Okay, that answers that question for me.
Yeah.
Were these people subjected to any medical testing?
No.
Why not?
No. We weren't set up for that.
Okay, and my third question is, did these people undergo any type of lie detection, detector, psychological stress? Why not?
Not a lie detector test.
Why not?
No, we did not.
Why not?
Well, these people are all over the country, so we didn't. As I say, MUFON funded this thing, but not to the degree that we could actually bring people together and do a lie detector test.
But you could have done a psychological stress evaluation over the phone with a trained PSE operator.
Well, that's a good point. Matter of fact, one of the things that we're hoping to do in the future is to expand beyond the omega-3 study and do the omega-4 study. So these are the kind of things that Rob, I'll write that one down. That's a good suggestion.
So why do these if you're not bringing in the principles that could actually get to the root of the problem, like a psychiatrist, like a medical doctor, putting these people under medical evaluation to see if there's something that they are missing, or if there's an illness that kind of connects them all. And why not use a lie detector? Because how do you know these people? How do you know these people were telling you the truth?
Yeah, I know. the bottom line on all of this is that these vehicles that we utilize are well established in the psychological community, and there are ways that these things can be analyzed without putting them on a lie detector. So I think that, perhaps in the future we can certainly do blood tests, we can do, other types of things, but the bottom line is that this is something that takes a lot of money, unfortunately. And so with the vehicle that we had, I think we came up with some pretty interesting things. And let me go on.
No, we can't because we're at our break time here.
Okay.
But we'll be back. My concern is that the lack of funding, the lack of proper diagnostic utilization of the medical professions instead of using a psychologist or psychiatrist may have tainted the results of that test in favor of the alleged abductee. That's all I'm saying. We'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. To find out what's available for you on the X Zone Broadcast Network, 24/7, 365, visit www.xzbn.net. And for all the programming on the X Zone TV channel, check out SimulTV, www.simultv.com. I'm Rob McConnell. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
Watch it on SimulTV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is SimulTV. SimulTV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. SimulTV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have SimulTV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
The new nonfiction book, Razor of Madness, is similar to cult movies like Clockwork Orange, Dragon's Tattoo, or The Other Side of Hell. Wayne Morin Jr. and Thomas Lee Howell will expose widespread and systematic deficiencies in this thought-provoking tell-all novel. Mind control rages among scholars in law schools. Human rights are ignored while thought reform and mental manipulation are accepted practices used as behavior modification. Dr. Louis Jolyon West comes to mind. Media and public scrutiny shows that United States mental hospitals are in fact destructive murder industries. Razor of Madness expose novel details this epidemic through an in-depth professional and personal investigation. For decades, there has been a revolving door policy that still releases killers and pedophiles back into society. The maestro of mind control continues to haunt America to this very day. Razor of Madness is available in paperback or as a downloadable ebook at Amazon.com.
The concept of a new age has been around since the late 19th century, yet much of its original meaning has been lost. What exactly is the new age? Is it a religion, a collection of obscure esoteric practices, a series of doomsday predictions, or an astrological event? The New Age Chronicles is a unique complementary publication bringing reason and grounded information to separate fact from fiction. Chock full of valuable information to support you as we make the monumental shift into the new era. You won't want to miss a single innovative issue. The New Age Chronicles newspaper is coming soon to www.newagechronicles.com.
Les Velez is our guest this hour. The website is opusnetwork.org. You know, when I was listening to the messages that the abductees came back with, you're right. It sounds wonderful that we can't pollute, we can't, we've got to get along with each other and so on and so forth. But that in return brings back that question I ask you, why don't they just land? Yeah, I understand that many people believe that Star Trek has something to do with it, or Gene Roddenberry, or, the Prime Directive. But why don't, if they're not here to harm, if they want the very best for this planet, why don't they just land? Why all the skirting around? Why all the black ops? Why all the cloak and dagger? It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, that's a good question, Rob. And I certainly don't have the answer for that. If I did,
Mm-hmm.
I probably would be writing a book. But the bottom line on this is that there are landings going on. People are seeing these landings, but they're certainly not in a situation where, and I think today with the availability of your camera on your phone,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're getting a lot more information, a lot more sightings that people are, transmitting via whatever social media you happen to be using at the time. And so, as far as them landing on the White House lawn, I don't think maybe there's some agreement going on between the governments of the world saying, "Hey guys, don't do this right now because we don't want to lose control here." And
so you're throwing in a little bit of the MJ-12 papers.
Well, I think what's going on is the fact that this is why people feel that our government certainly is not being forthright with regard to this phenomena, is that if they were, they'd have to tell people, well, we can't control what's going on, and we don't really know what they are.
Let me give you a scenario, okay? With today's modern technology and all the computer hacking that's going on with every country, like Canada and the United States are no different when it comes to, national security in quotations.
Right.
If, let's say, a country that is unfriendly to the United States or Canada, let's focus on America because they've got the most reputation of, the cover-up and so on. If that was the fact, would it not be advantageous for an unfriendly country of the United States to hack into the Department of Defense computers, find the proof that UFOs are real, and then blast it all over the internet, which would cause an immediate fall of the American government? Why hasn't that happened?
Well, probably people wouldn't believe it. They would write it off as some fake news, as Trump would say. These are questions, Rob, I can't answer. The main focus for me is to help these people that are having these experiences, and forgetting about the fact that, are we dealing with extraterrestrials or interdimensional beings or time travelers, or all the above, which I kind of believe it certainly could be the case. But these abductees believe that there's a sentient, purposive alien intelligence at play in their lives and at work in the world. And what these intelligence goals are seem to be more beneficent than benevolent, is what we've found. More benign than malignant. This basically remains an open question and a point of doubt in the minds and hearts of some abductees and experiencers and some comparison control participants. As a matter of fact, what we found in the study. It also remains a point of contention among abduction researchers, which certainly the case. We have people that feel that they're all good and people that feel that they're all bad.
You mentioned Dr. Roger Leir before. He was a podiatrist.
Correct.
So once again, when you look at Dr. Roger Leir, Daryl Sims, it was like Abbott and Costello when they were together in the media. Here you've got this podiatrist who has to have another surgeon come in to perform the operation because it was outside of his field of expertise, giving all this advice on alleged alien implants. Once again, You look at this and say, you've got to be kidding.
Well, I think that the fact of the matter is that these people have their heart in the right place. They're trying, again, to help people and to try to understand the phenomena. And unfortunately, your mainstream medical community or mental health community is not open to what's going on. So therefore, who is going to step forward and try to fill that void? And so that's what happens when, as you say, you get a person that's a podiatrist trying to help people.
But isn't it the responsibility of the psychiatric community, the mental health community, as well as the medical community and scientific community, to be the gatekeepers to protect the sanity of the masses away from the loony bins?
Well, unfortunately, the mental health community likes to prescribe drugs over anything.
Well, at least
what people have to say.
At least to my knowledge, they don't abduct people and give them rectal exams.
What these people don't need is to be medicated to the degree that they can't even function anymore.
But who are you to make that call?
What's that?
But who are you to make that call? You're not a doctor.
No, I'm not. And that we don't prescribe any drugs. We don't do anything like that. But what I'm saying is that typically, and this is well known, that people have gone to a psychologist or psychiatrist. They've been prescribed drugs to, this is going to take care of you and blah, 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 blah. But the fact of the matter is it's the last thing that they really need. What they need is to be able to talk to people that are having similar circumstances in their lives and being able to download that information.
You made a reference to the doctors who prescribe drugs and, it dumbens them down and blah, 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 as you said. But how many people have those doctors helped compared to those who claim that they didn't receive any help at all?
Oh, I don't know. That's a question. I have no way of answering that. But, one of the things that we found in the study, the brain generally and the temporal lobes and limbic systems more particularly play a mediating role in the anomalous experience such as abductions. This is no way implies that abductions are all or only abductees in abductees' heads. Rather, it points to the likelihood of temporal lobe lability as a preset or a precursor to extraordinary experiences.
All right. So what does that mean in plain English?
In plain English, what this means is that they're open to change. That for some reason that their temporal lobe activity was different than the control group people.
Would that also
is something that we want to continue to find?
Would that also mean that they're very susceptible to suggestion?
It could be. It could be.
So
we don't know that for sure. This is one of the things that we did find, and we want to investigate further. A more thorough investigation of abductees' experience is warranted, and this is why we want to try to do the omega-4 study, which we've outlined, and our main investigator, Dr. Lelivre, unfortunately passed away, but he did put the whole thing together before, and so we know what we need to do, but we need the funding to go forward to look at this thing even more closely.
Why don't you think mainstream science and the medical profession don't take a look at this?
Well, that's a good question. Matter of fact, you know Grant Cameron, I'm sure.
Yes, I do.
All right. Well, I sent this study, this 28-page study to him, and he's supposed to get it to a gentleman at Stanford University.
Why
and
can't
I have not heard from him.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to see if we could get our feet on the ground. Gary Nolan, Dr. Gary Nolan at Stanford University. And, so I don't know if he's actually, sent this thing to him, but I'm about to call Dr. Nolan myself and see if we can get something going in that direction.
As one of the authors,
better understand it.
As one of the authors of the Omega-3 paper, why haven't you done that yourself? What are you waiting for Grant Cameron to do?
Well, Grant Cameron knows Dr. Nolan personally, evidently, And so I thought this would be a good way to
I see a door opener.
As a door opener. And that's all. But I haven't heard anything, so I'm about to do that.
All right. I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's just one of those things, Exo Nation. I really don't understand this entire scenario. Like, if people are getting abducted, why isn't the mainstream scientific community, the mainstream medical community, the people with the power, the knowledge, the expertise, like, if you've got these abductees, make sure they get the very best. Why do something half-assed? And according to what I've heard tonight, this is exactly what the omega-3 paper was. It was a joke. It was a farce. Use psychiatrists. Make sure that these people are medically fit. Put them through a lie detector test, for goodness sake. If you're worried about hurting their feelings, oh well. Que sera, sera. I'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifeology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Are you or is someone you know struggling with addictions, depression, anxiety, relationships, low self-esteem, lack of confidence, grief, success, and prosperity? Do you know that your subconscious belief plays a big role in the outcome of your hard work? We can help you permanently change the beliefs that may be the reason for your struggles and failures. We care about getting you the return on your investment and the results you are looking for. We can help you be free of the limitations of your past and in realizing your highest potential. We work with people by phone and Skype. For more information, visit us at www.ritasoman.com. That's www.ritasoman.com. Do you think you have energy problems in your home? Do you feel better when you're away than when you're home? Joey Korn is a global leader in the world of dowsing who specializes in personal energy clearing and space clearing. He can help you create an ideal energy environment in your home no matter where you live in the world. Learn about his remote spiritual house cleaning services and much more at www.dowsers.com. You can get Joey's book, Dowsing, A Path to Enlightenment, as well as other dowsing books and tools, Kabbalah books, and Walter Russell books. Joey's work is really amazing. Go to dowsers.com right now. That's DOWSERS.com or call 1-877-DOWSING. That's 1-877-369-7464.